So even as a very small child, I knew that my mother was not an intimidating figure in the grand scheme of things. She's 5'1½", which made her a lot shorter than pretty much every other adult I knew. She's very soft-spoken, very kind, polite, nice, very reasonable woman. So, you know, just all of the adjectives that don't describe intimidating. And that was my worldview until I turned about 10. So at 10 years old, I was flipping through a magazine, and I saw a product that promised to do things to my Super Nintendo that even I knew at that time were fundamentally impossible. But, you know, not being immune to the sexy lure of advertising yet, I found myself with my mom in Clover, which is a now defunct department store, sort of like a prototype to Target. I thought that would get a cheer. Woo, yeah. So, you know, I'm staring at this product there, and I'm like, Mom, this is going to revolutionize the way I play video games, you know. And so my mom's like, oh, you know, I'll buy it for you, sure, you know. So we get it, and I go home, and 3 days later, I realized what I already knew, and I'm like, this sucks. And so my mom's like, don't worry about it. We'll just take it back. You know, we know the receipt. We'll just get partial credit. Like, no big deal. I'm like, okay, great. Thanks, Mom. So we go to the customer service place at Clover, and the customer service lady at the counter there was not having it. She wasn't having anything that day. And so my mom's like, very reasonably like, okay, you know, here's the situation. We just want partial, you know, store credit. And the lady's like, no. So my mom's trying to reason with her for like 5 minutes. And then, you know, this woman's just not having until something just snaps. Something in my mom, just the levees break, and my mom just starts yelling and screaming and just shouting her down. And I'm like, I hid behind like a magazine rack. I mean, like, this to me is like watching my mother tackle a gazelle in the wild. I'm like, I didn't even know she could do this. So I'm like, so, you know, the manager comes out. He's like, oh, whoa, you know, all right, hey. So, you know, sure, whatever, get out of here. So my mom gets the partial credit because, you know, that's what she can do. And so we're in the car, and she's calmed down some. And she actually apologizes to me because she's, you know, you're like, this has never happened before. I don't know, you know, like, I don't know what came over me. And so, to this day, we rate her scale of angry, like as it approaches Clover Lady angry. So, like, if she's like, you know, I was like half Clover Lady, and we're like, oh, that's pretty serious. But that's not what I came here to tell you about. I came here to tell you about my genuine Italian leather jacket. So, I'm 16. I'm in Italy with Mom and Dad. We're visiting my sister who's studying abroad there. And so this is back when Italy was still on the lira, so everything was pretty cheap. And my parents were like, you should get a leather jacket while we're in Florence, because Florence is like the leather capital of Italy or whatever. And so like, okay. So they offered to partially sponsor me. So they give me $50. I have $50. And so I'm like, $100 leather jacket. It's doable. So we're in this store in Florence, and we narrowed it down to 2 jackets. The first jacket is this, like, black leather, you know, it's like really rough leather. It's got these funny buttons on it. It's a weird cut, and that's $100, so I can afford it. The second jacket is the world's perfect leather jacket. Unbeknownst to this Italian craftsman, he crafted the perfect leather jacket specifically for me. Like, just, I don't even know how he knew it. It just happened. You know, it's so soft. It's just the right cut. The color brown is perfect, and it has a very tasteful zipper. And so that's $200, and I can't afford it. And everyone's like, you need this leather jacket. It's the leather jacket. And the very sleazy Italian salesman's like, obviously, I'm going to get a very good sale on this. So he's like, well, you know, leather jacket, blah, blah, blah. And my mom's like, well, how come this one is, you know, so much more expensive than the other one? And this guy thinks, you know, he is the preeminent Italian leather salesman. And he decides that my mom is a stupid American tourist. And that was a huge mistake, because she proceeded to go full Clover Lady on his ass. She starts, you know, like, what about this one? What about, he's poking holes in all of his, like, his thing. Like, after a minute, he's like, oh, I gotta get to the manager. So the manager is like, I mean, if he's hiring the sleaziest, you know, salesman in Italy, like, he must have, like, he earned a stripe. So he comes out like, what seems to be the problem? 2 minutes later, I have the world's greatest leather jacket for a mere $100, right? So, you know, and it's like, wow, like, you know, my mom, as it turns out, can be, you know, very intimidating. And she is here tonight. So, you know, if you see her, don't feel that you're, you know, just she's going to yell at you or something, unless, say, like, you give her son a really bad score.